transitioning is not as bad as it is, as long as you have the right people holding your hand and making that happen.
If you ask Chat GPT to create like the perfect mastermind community, like it would be MDS, right?
What I love about MDS Community and what I love about community as a whole is...
Welcome to the $1 Million Sellers Podcast. Today we have Ephraim back on the show. This is his second time coming on. Always good to chat with you, man, and excited to sit down with you for a little bit today.
Yeah, good to see you, Nick. It's always good to have a good conversation, and you're the type of guy that we could always have like deep conversation and like really understanding on different topics. So I'm really honored to be with you and have this podcast going.
Cool, man. And I'm excited kind of what we queued up here for the conversation, talking a little bit about, community and the impact that it can have on, us as individuals, as well as our businesses also, and talk about some cool things that MDS members like Greg have done with your service, Tactical Logistics, to help just kind of create a smooth flow for that shipment supply chain process, which we all know is a headache. Like that's one of the biggest headaches in the business. And sometimes one little thing can make a big impact because of what that allows you to do, because you were able to access something. So we'll talk about that later as well, because I think there'll be other members and listeners just interested in taking advantage of those things. But just in case anyone, for those that haven't met you yet or don't know about you, like, why don't you just do a quick intro about you, Tactical Logistics, your experience in the world of Amazon and what you're working on these days.
Sure. So my name is Ephraim. I'm the Chief Logistics Officer for Tactical Logistics Solutions. A little bit about my background is I was an Amazon seller from 2011 till 2017. So in the early days of Amazon, when things were a lot easier than selling today. And at that time, I was using a 3PL, I was using freight forwarders, I was using truckers to get my product into Amazon, a custom clearance agent as well to clear my customs. And a lot of times I felt like you had to deal with different parts of the puzzle, and everyone is a different company. And it was really difficult, or sometimes things got delayed because you didn't have that seamless connection between all the different services. So when I joined here, we were just a 3PL for major retailers, and we tried to figure out like what could we have a niche that makes us different than others. I mean, there's thousands of 3PLs, there's thousands of freight forwarders, truckers, and like that. So we decided we're going to be like an end-to-end service provider for Amazon sellers. So we became a licensed freight forwarder. We import your product. We're a licensed customs broker, so we clear customs. We pick up your goods. We warehouse it. We have 2 facilities in California, 1 in New Jersey, and then we drip feed into Amazon as needed. So that's basically the scope, what we created. The reason why I'm so passionate about doing what I do is, first of all, helping sellers, and something that a lot of people don't know much about or don't know the complexity of logistics. We were able to see in COVID, like the complexity of it, like when it was all national news, when things was going crazy, pricing was out of whack, and then things were delayed. So a lot of people were actually able to see firsthand what logistics is all about, what goes on the back end. At the same time, our price structure of what I created was simple, that you could really know your profitability, because selling online, selling on Amazon, is very different than when you sell to Walmart or to Target. Like, Walmart, Target, you sell it for $1. You know what your cost is. That's all it is. But when you sell on Amazon, things change every day. There's different fees, longer in storage, less in storage. So our price structure is a very simple price structure, so you can really know your profitability and what my cost is per unit, having it in a 3PL, importing it, drip feed into Amazon. So that makes it a really good experience for Amazon sellers to have a good handle on their business.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's always great to have someone who knows what sellers really need and has been on that side of the table and come up with a solution for those specific things. And I think that's why a lot of MDS members, are using you for a long time. Like how many clients do you currently have that are from MDS?
I think we're closing into 50.
Nice.
Approximately that number.
Okay.
So yeah, been, when we started, when I first met you, I think we were at 6, 7.
Okay.
So we're close to 50. So that's a big number.
Amazing, man. That's that's amazing. And I see what they say about your company and the group, right? Nothing but good things to say. Some members have spoken about you guys at the events and stuff like that, which is great. And for those that are listening that aren't MDS, they're kind of getting a taste of what the community offers, which is like working with a proven provider. Like if an MDS person says something, recommends somebody, you really take their word for it because the trust is there like immediately when you're inside of MDS. So that's a little taste. Like, they could reach out to you and know that they're reaching out to a provider that's really going to get the job done, and be able to take care of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the MDS group, it's a very, trust is their key. Like, I've seen it. I've been to many MDS events, and you see it, like, trust is number one there. So to gain trust of a group, it like takes a lot of effort, but I'm really happy that we are in that position where we are, that we can really help them grow. MDS members do a lot of vetting, so they make sure before they make a decision, whatever they do to their business. Most of them are serious business entrepreneurs, so they're not like, hey, let me try this out to see how it goes. They really do their due diligence and make a decision. So
Yeah.
it's really great to be part of this group and be able to help.
Yeah, and I think that's that touches on something else. You mentioning about them being serious about what they try. Like trying another provider, trying another software. In the MDS community, when I was doing the partnerships very regularly, every week, I could see how the partners were getting that wrong. Some of the partners, right? They'd be like, oh, well, we're going to give them this offer. We're going to give them, 20% off, or, we're going to do this free training. And I'm like, they need more, like, why should they stop something that's already working for them and then take the time to learn, your tool, your strategy, your definitions of things. And then they have to train their employees on all that, right? So you have all these other things that they think about that you don't see, like in the solopreneur, kind of just getting started Amazon journey. And I think that's where you came up with that MDS offer, saying you would actually share in some of the costs and the burden associated with switching to another provider, because this is one of the more difficult switches to make too, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a joke always, I always tell the people, like a trucker or a freight forwarder, you date them, right? You try them out, didn't work out, you go to another one, easy. A 3PL, you got to marry them. So like so it's, or you're married to them and you love them, or you divorce them, you hate them. So yeah, for someone to be in a 3PL position, they really need to feel trusted, that their product is good, they know what they're doing, things like that. So for someone to leave a 3PL, it is also a big deal because it's expensive, it's a headache, it's hard, it's not an easy transition. So that way, you felt like that a lot of people like have a hard time making that decision because of that reason. So we tell like, hey, you just review the rate, see if everything makes sense, you understand everything. And whenever you decide that you want to make that switch, you could give it over to your staff. Our staff takes over, and then we split the cost 50%. So basically, whatever the cost is, we'll eat 50% of it. You only pay 50%, so it's not that of a huge deal. Like when you gotta transfer, sometimes it could cost you $10,000, $15,000, $50,000 to really make a huge switch. If you have a lot of product in 3PL, or even 10 truckloads could be a couple $1,000s. So it's really important for them to know that transitioning is not as bad as it is, as long as you have the right people holding your hand and making that happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's such a great offer. It just, it makes sense, in my opinion, to offer, good quality clients the help to make that transition.
Definitely.
So yeah, we've touched a little bit on the community, but why don't you tell us a little more about, what it means to you as you've been getting more involved. And, I could even talk a little bit about what my perspective as a member and how involved I have been since I joined like in 2017. But yeah, because I've seen you come in and start to get involved, and now you're committing to all the big main events. You're attending the chapter events. Like, you're really coming in strong and engaging with the community.
Right. So for me, I've been in the Amazon community, because e-commerce is a community after all, since 2011, and I've met probably hundreds or thousands of sellers and service providers out there over the years, and for me, it is a second family. To be part of such a amazing community where everybody's here to help each other out. But when you're a seller, right, and you have an issue, you could go on a random Facebook group from Amazon sellers to ask, and then you might get a good answer. You might get not a good answer. Somebody might screw you with an answer because they don't know what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
the beauty of being within a community, in a community, that's what basically MDS is. It's a community from really smart entrepreneurs where everybody is here to help each other out. At the same time, they have experienced their growth, how they got to where they got to. So they all have a lot of experience in their hands because they're all experienced sellers. So when somebody comes new to the group, or somebody is on the group for a while and has a problem that he never bumped into, he knows he has a community, a family, I would call it, where they could actually reach out, and then people are actually genuinely there to help them because they know each other, they care about each other, and they trust each other. So that's where what I love about MDS community, and what I love about community as a whole is feeling that part. It's like, yeah, it's all about business life balance, right? So it's beautiful to have a family of your own. That's amazing. That's number one. But number two is you want to do business, but at the same time, where you get that family aspect to the business, you can't get better than that. I mean, I'm sure there's many stories. We could talk to many MDS members. I'm sure you have spoken to many MDS members where their lives have changed. I mean, I've spoken to some MDS members where since they joined, they became new people in personal life, in business life, and growing as a business. So it's something that really is close to my heart, where I love being part of it. Part of our values as Tactical is community. So I'm really a strong supporter of that. And I love being part of a community like MDS. So I've been to many events, and every event I go to, it just becomes stronger. That bond becomes stronger and stronger, where like we all have each other. We're all here for the same reason. We're here to help each other out. One person is growing on Amazon, the other person is helping an Amazon seller grow. Regardless what the service is, what they do, it's just beautiful to be part of it.
Yeah, I think if MDS really is like the perfect kind of family mastermind group to be a part of for a variety of reasons. And you mentioned like family and community and those things, and it makes me wonder, like, like if you ask Chat GPT to create like the perfect like mastermind community, like it would be MDS, right? Because you get like the best, like they've got your back. Like you always know if things go wrong, like I can always ask for help in MDS.
Right.
But at the same time, they're not going to like enable you either, right? Like if you're just not working hard, or your work ethic sucks, or you're just not doing what you're doing, like that's not really going to fly. Whereas,
Exactly.
I'm sure some of us can relate to being involved in like a family dynamic lifestyle where there's some enabling going on, there's some confusion about, how someone should be treated, what the problem really is. In MDS, you really don't have that. Like everyone's performing at a high level.
Right.
And there's that baseline of performance kind of established where you're not really going to run into that problem unless someone's really going through something serious in their life. And that's a different story, in that case. But yeah, just, it really makes you want to be the best version of yourself, really.
Right.
And if you start masterminding with these people and putting together like accountability groups with these people, like that takes my performance to the next level. Cause there are some things I won't, like I'll let myself down on some things, but if I commit to something, to a group like that, I'm going to take that even more seriously in some cases, that I committed to something.
Definitely. I mean, I've seen it many times where you can really feel that vibe is like people hold their friends accountable for
Hmm.
certain things. Like, hey, did you do that? Did you get it done? Like, did you try it? How was the experience? Like things like that. I've seen that by being at events where people like genuinely really care about them. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we're in a group, a community where we have a certain standards that we live by, and like, let's do it, get it
Yeah.
done. Like the motivational part, getting people motivated to do certain things. You only have that in a community. So if you sit in a solo basement and you sell on Amazon, you don't have a community that can really help you. You could get burned out,
Yeah.
and then when you're a part of community, you don't have that, because if you have a problem, you have who to talk to. You know, so many people with different dynamics that could really help you. Sometimes it's personal stuff, sometimes it's business stuff, sometimes your business is pulling you down and affecting you personally. So all of that, we have that experience. Like we did now, and I was at the chapter in Miami, and we did the Wim Hof experience.
Nice.
So that was something that Wim Hof experience is something that really is for your inner self. It's your inner body. It's your inner feelings, anxiety, stress, everything like that. That's really affect us personally, not only business. So being part of that and doing that together as a community, as a team, was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And you could just really see people talk about certain things that they struggle with. And that was really somewhere where we're 25, 30 people talking about it and just helping each other out and just motivating each other. Like, hey, like part of the Wim Hof experience is doing an ice bath where it's brutal for the first couple of seconds. And like everybody's cheering each other on to do that for the experience of it. What you feel after that is where you feel like you're completely clean, you're stress free, things like that. So it was really beautiful to have that experience in a community level.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about it too, as well, is you're able to blend that, to what it really is to me is like just my personal life, like who I am as a person. It's not my work life and my home life and
Right.
like who I am at work and who I am at home. I always thought that was ridiculous to me. Like you always heard that growing up from just about everyone. And I was like, in my head, I was like, that just sounds stupid. Like it doesn't sound right. Like, why would I want to be someone else because I'm doing this job that I don't even like? Most people around me were just kind of complaining about, where they were in life. So that's a lot of what I heard. And I was just like,
Right.
why are you choosing to do those things or look at things that way? Like, why not do something like this where, you get into ice cold water for 3 minutes, you focus on your breathing, you lower your heart rate, and you're directly improving your ability to handle stress and
Right.
be under control in stressful situations. And that helps every aspect of your life. It helps you work better. It helps you be a better father, a better husband, a better brother, like whatever it is, right? These are, biological things that impact every single one of us, no matter who you are. And you can learn these things and leverage them at work. And MDS does such a good job of blending all that together because it's also a platform for the members to express themselves.
Right.
Like we had an idea to do the Wim Hof experience and, someone led it and we made it happen. And we've had the Japan trip and, there's other experiences being planned that allow us to do those things.
Right. Yeah. And that's the beauty of, like, there's one part of the community is where you guys have a group, and anybody that has a question or anything related to business, people are always there to help each other out, or anything new, changing, pivoting, things like that. But then you have the side where MDS has their chapters and events, and the summit is where the whole experience is way different than you go to any trade show or any mastermind. It's a blend of personal, like we just spoke, personal and business.
Yeah.
Like the first night at the summit, we have like this meet and speed, right? And most of the questions are a personal question, a business question, a personal question, a business question, and where that's so much more important for somebody. If you need help, right? If you're have an issue, it's not only business where that's your issue. It's all about it. Like if somebody experiences and learns what Nick is all about, like as a personal person, like as a guy on the street, and then as a person in business, right? When you get that understanding of who you are, who I am, who the other person is, your way of helping them is so much more different than just asking a question like, hey, I'm having an issue with my listing. Amazon did this and that, or how do I do this and that? It's way different because you know me, I know you. So it makes things so much more seamless. And you get a better connection and you get better help with that. So that's what I love about being part of this community.
Yeah, the ability to troubleshoot something significantly faster is pretty insane. So I've seen questions where, like it's taken me months or maybe even longer to figure something out, and then you see someone in the group ask it, and like a couple minutes later, someone answered it. And you're like, man, it took me 90 days to figure that one out. This guy just answered it in 90 seconds.
Right.
So it's crazy. Such a great group to be a part of. How was the ice bath for you? What was that experience like for you? Walk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, there are people that know me a little bit from the MDS group, and they all understood for me that Ephraim is not the type of guy that does these things. He's not going to do it. He's playing the game. He might, but he's not going to do it. And like for me, I was the last one doing it actually. So just out of nowhere, like I was next to the instructor and he started from the other way around who was going to do, because we were doing sets of 3 people at a time. So I was the last person, the only person that was going to do it. And the trainer goes up to me like, Ephraim, you're going to do it. And I was like, I can't, like me and cold, like I can't handle it.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm going to do it. And the experience after that was like amazing. Mentally, it's like, I was so proud of myself, like for doing it at the same time. But the feeling of like your brain not always controls you. You have an option where you could tell your brain, I'm going to be doing this to make me better as a person. And we could take that lesson. Anything in life is like, sometimes you feel like you're hijacked because your brain is telling you something. But if you really want to do something, you go for it. And then your brain realizes that, hey, you actually went for it. And now the brain has to figure out like, now that I did it, let me get through this, right? So the same thing with ice bath, like the first 20, 30 seconds, like, no, I'm getting out. And some people did run out after 30, 40 seconds. They couldn't handle it. And then 30, 40 seconds in is when your brain realizes that you're in the ice cold water. You're here. Now your body starts warming you up and you practice on the breathing, and that clears your mind, your brain, of any stress or any toxic information that you have had in your head, whatever's going on in your life. It just really gives you I would say like a new beginning. I was like calm as it being the whole day, that day. Even the next day, I still felt that certain sense of peace. So that was really amazing because I'm a logistics world. There's always chaos. There's always things happening. It's never a calm day, but that really was an amazing experience. So also having MDS members cheer you on, being part of it, like being proud of you for doing that, supporting each other. It was just amazing.
You got to get one in your office, man. You got to get, I know you got room for one there at the warehouse.
Definitely. Plenty of room.
Yeah, I thought about building one. You can build one. There's a guy on YouTube for like $1,000 showing you how to build one. Those things are getting so trendy right now. I was looking on Amazon right when they rolled out that new feature where they tell you how many are like selling every week. Right. And there was like some like expensive bundle on there, and the guy it had sold like 1,000 in the past week or something. I was like, holy crap, man! Like, looked like some good money to be made there. But yeah, that trend is just blowing up right now, and I want one of those things at my house. I'm really into the cold and the heat, and when you mix them together, I got some really good benefit when we went to Japan on the snowboarding trip with all the MDS guys, and we were in the onsen after snowboarding. So we're in the hot bath. They had a dry sauna too, though, and a cold plunge. So we were hitting that, and I wouldn't be sore the next day. The recovery was so much better than I had ever experienced. But then the cold on its own has so many benefits, and the heat on its own has so many benefits that I think it's worth experiencing both by themselves and let your body go through that warming up process or that cooling down process. Because you think if you jump from one to the other, you're interfering with that. But there still seems to be that recovery benefit. I think it's like blood flow, man. If you think about it, you're kind of like pumping your blood vessels with hot, making it expand, and cold, making it contract.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's all about the breathing technique and your mindset. It's like, because before the Wim Hof, we did the breathing exercises, and we did like, first exercise was like, how long can you hold? And like, you breathe in and you breathe out, and how long can you hold your breath, like not to breathe in or out? And I did around 30 seconds and I couldn't
okay.
do it anymore. After we did the Wim Hof breathing exercises, I was holding it for 2 minutes.
Wow.
It just shows you, because basically by breathing, you're really putting in oxygen to your blood, where your blood doesn't need you to breathe for a couple minutes. It's
Yeah.
insane how much control we can have in our bodies through a breathing experience. So it was amazing.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love hearing that stuff. I'm so into those things. Like the way I work out now has a lot of breath work involved, and I could talk for another hour about it specifically, honestly, but I won't do that. Let's kind of start to wrap up as we get near our time here, man. I know we wanted to mention, like what some members were able to do with tactical logistics just by having an API connection, right? And that's what we mentioned earlier, where like something like that, it's one simple thing that a provider can do, but it opens up a world of possibilities. And Greg, one of our members, Greg, uses you guys, and he talks about that. And I know you talked a little bit about what happens there, but you said it's fully automated, right? Like,
Right.
you don't do anything.
Right. So we have one of our customers, he's an MDS member. His name's Greg Alper. And basically he created an Airtable. Exactly how he did it, I'm not sure. But he has basically everything automated, from his freight forwarder to everything, what's coming in on a shipment, going through Airtable into our system, what we're supposed to receive, and then any orders that he needs to replenish in Amazon as well, automatically. You would rarely see an email from anyone of this company checking on anything, because everything is automated. The order
Amazing.
comes in, the labels come in, it gets done, it gets shipped out. Everything is automated. So that's the craziest that I've seen, meaning say like an automation, where someone really has a really successful business and he literally does not have to get involved in his logistics. That's impressive. But then we have other customers that, like, there's, I think one of the MDS members is part of Ephraim. I think
Yeah.
that's one of, he's a seller and he created software as well, where they also have a couple of customers that are fully integrated with our software, where all their projections, whatever is coming in, whatever needs to go into Amazon, click of a button, their software creates the order in Seller Central, pulls it through our system, and the order comes in. Like, literally, you don't have to really go into two systems and anything like that. So our API connection is open, and it's a very simple deck. So anybody that knows a little bit about technology or has inventory software, it's a very simple and easy way how to integrate with that. So part of being an MDS member is you have access to a lot of entrepreneurs that are really technology savvy, where they know software, where they have created software on their own for their own business, or they're really knowledgeable with that. So to do that, not a single other community. We have multiple other customers that have integrations, but to the extent where MDS member has the ability to learn that, I think is extraordinary. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing how somebody's biggest headache and challenge is completely automated.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Imagine not sending an email checking
yeah,
in on a shipment, right? Like,
exactly,
imagine that.
exactly. So that's what is really impressive. When most Amazon sellers are not logistical geniuses or well savvy or well, like, know much about it. And most of them will tell you, like, what's your biggest headache? It's logistics, because I know how to build my product. I know how to do Amazon advertising. I know how to sell product. I don't know how to control and manage my logistics. So that's really an amazing experience. Somebody
Right.
could really automate that. So that's part of the perks of being an MDS member, is having the ability to connect with people that really know what they're doing.
Right on, Ephraim. Well, thanks for coming on and just letting us know about, your company, your experience and your involvement with MDS, and, looking forward to just more events with you and getting you on the podcast again. And thanks for being such a great partner to the community.
Thank you, brother. Always happy to be with you and talk with you.
Same to you, Ephraim. Talk again soon, man.
You got it.